Welcome everybody. Today we are going to review some basic concepts of Photoshop which you have already learned. So we'll be reviewing about how to open a file and save a file in Photoshop and how to resize an image in Photoshop. And there is a new concept which has been included, that is how to scan a photograph directly into Photoshop. And we'll be brushing up some basic tools which comes under selection tools. So let's just start. Open a file in Photoshop. So a file generally can be opened using an open command. This is how we do it in all the other softwares also. So the first basic command which we use to open a file in Photoshop is to click on file and then go to open option, and then you browse for the file whichever location your file is saved, and then you press on open. So that's how you open an image in Photoshop. Next is to browse command. So I'll just show you practically how to browse and how to open an image in Photoshop. So go to file and open. This is generally how we open it. So I already have few pictures in my library. So I'm just clicking on one image and then I'll click on open. So this is how you open an image in Photoshop. And the next option which I said is browse option. So then the difference between the open and the browse option is that when you open a file using open command, there is no property details which is displayed about image. The size of the image is the dimensions of the image is not mentioned in that. So when you go to browse, so here we have an option called browse in bridge. When you click on it, so you can see, just like you open, you will have all these folders, just the one which is there in your system. So when you click on library, I already have few pictures in this, so I'll just go to those pictures. So same images which I just showed you to open a file using open command. So I say if I want to click on this, say if I want this rose image, and you can see few details over here. See, these are the details which I mentioned. The difference between the normal open command and the browse command is this, that in browse command you are able to see the property details of the, say, your file image size, the image dimensions, resolution details. You get most of the details in this. So that is the difference between browse command and an open command. The next one is open as command. The open as command is used to open an image in another format. So by default, all the images in Photoshop will be with an extension of .pst, that is Photoshop file. So if you want to open a file, open an image of another format, if you have an image in one format and you want it to be opened in another format, you can use this open as command. And the next three commands which we have is open recent, place and import. I'll just show you practically how these things work. So this is our file. You have to go to file and go to file, open as command. So you can see the image is going to be in with an Photoshop extension by default. So if you want to change it, so you just have to choose one image. Still it will be in Photoshop within Photoshop extension. So you can change the extension by changing the type of it and then click on open. So the image now which you have inserted is in JPEG format. So this is the use of open as command. The next two options which we have is open recent. So these are, say if I have opened few images recently, you just have to go to open recent and then you can see few images which I have recently opened. You can directly click on it and then open it. So if you have this makes our work easy, because we don't have to go to the location every time and go and browse for the image again and again. So open recent is something which has been opened recently. You can open back that one. So then next is place option. You go to file and then place. Now place option is used to place an image of any format into your Photoshop software. So for example, we already have a JPG image, so we can say if I want to insert another image of some other format, so you can see here the type there, it is by default all formats. So all the formats, let that be PNG or JPG, whichever format it is, the images will appear over here, or whichever location, wherever in your system you have saved, all those images will be available, and then you just have to choose and insert. So for example, if I am inserting this, okay, I'll insert this one. So you inserted the image. Now you can just bring it to a proper size, so wherever you want it, and then set it. Okay. So I hope you understood this one. Next is import option. Now this is the option which as I told you earlier, we have a new concept of scanning an image into the Photoshop software. So this is how we do it. So you just have to import. I'll explain you practically when I'm explaining you with the scanning of an image option. So this is one of the example. So if you want to insert anything like video frames to layers or notes or whatever it is, if you want to import something into your Photoshop software, that could be your scanner or your digital camera, whichever you have. Say now digital cameras and all you would have seen in your in any photo studios. When you go to take a photograph, the photographer takes a snap of yours, and then he connects his camera to the system, and then this is how he imports the camera directly into the Photoshop, and then he does all sorts of alterations or healing or whatever tools he used to make you look much better than you are actually. So that's how they do it. So these are the options which we have. Let's just go back to the notes. So this concept is over. Next is save a file in Photoshop. So we have save as option and save for web. Save as option is that is how you save a file. Say, as I told you earlier, the image which you insert into Photoshop, and when you're working on it, the image will be saved in with an extension .psd, which is Photoshop format, and you can open PSD format only when you have a Photoshop. So once you're done with all alterations and all kind of changes or modifications which you wanted to do in an image, and say once it is done, if you want to save it in some other format, so you go to file and then click on save as, and then you can save it in any type whichever you want. That could be JPG or PNG format or anything. So this is how you do it. I'll just show you practically how to do it. Okay, I'll just go to file, save as first. So as I told you earlier, it will be in PSD format. The image which you work on in Photoshop will always be with an extension .psd. So if you want to change it, you have to click it, and then you have to change the image format. So I've changed that into JPG format, and then let me save it on my desktop. I'll just save it on the desktop, and it will ask you a few options. You want it to be standard or whatever it is. You will just click it with high and 8 quantity. That's it. That is for file and save as. And then the other one is save for web. When you click on this, it will show you how you can save your image for a web. So this you can reduce it and message as it is 100%. It is going on with a large size. If you want to reduce it, you can go with 60% or something. So the image size gets reduced to 60%. The dimensions also get reduced to 60%. So I'll go with the 50%. So now it's correct. We are able to see the full image, and then now you can save it wherever you want. Whichever you can just do some alterations in the color background or whatever it is, and then you can save it on. I'll just rename it, and I'll save it. So this is how we use these things. So save as is to save your image in any format, say PNG or JPEG, whichever you want, and save for web is used for saving an image which you are going to later on and upload it in your website or anywhere wherever you want. I hope it's clear now. The next topic is scanning a photograph using Photoshop. So I'll just tell you the step-by-step process how to scan an image. So first you have to open your Photoshop, and then you place the image on the flatbed scanner. That is, you have to place the image upside down so that the image faces the glass which is there on the scanner, and then you close the lid of the scanner, and then you go to file, import, and then you choose the option WIA support. Once you click on WIA support, another window comes where you will see how it works. I'll just show you the screenshots. So this is how, when you open a Photoshop, this is how it appears. So your Photoshop looks like this, and then you have to go to file, import, and then choose WIA support. So when you click on WIA support, the next thing which comes is which device do you want to use. So it will show you both the digital camera and Why it is showing like that is these are the two devices which are connected to the system at that time. So scanner is also there and the digital camera is also there. So when you want a scanner to be used, you click on scanner and then click on OK. Then the next option is you have to choose the destination folder, that is where do you want to save the image once it is scanned. So by default it is always in pictures, which is there in the library. Once you click on if once it is okay with you, or you don't or else if you want to change the location of that image, you don't want the image to be saved in pictures and you want it in some other drive, you have to click on the browse option here and then you can choose the location whichever it is, and once that is done, you click on start. Then the next is once you click on start, then it will ask you, do you want to scan the image in color, the color picture, or do you want it in grayscale picture, or it is black and white picture set, whichever it is. You have to choose whichever is your option. Choose it and then click on preview first. So it will show you the preview. That is, once you get the preview of it, it will scan once. It will give you a preview. If you want to crop certain things, say sometimes when we scan, you want to omit, you might want to omit particular section. Say you have scanned an image of two people standing together and you don't want one person to be there in that image, so you can crop that particular person or anything. I'm just giving you an example of a person. It could be anything. You can just crop it and then again you click on scan button. Once you click on scan button, again the image is scanned and then your image is stored at the background. It will be stored in the location wherever you have given, whichever you have given. So when you click on scan, this is how it shows, something like this, transferring image. So the image is scanned and then that image will be transferred to the location which you have given, and then finally once it is transferred, this is how the next thing which comes is the image will get displayed on your Photoshop. So next step is, which if you want to edit or whatever you want to do, that is why we generally scan the image into Photoshop. See why there are so many examples, like say for example, if it is you have an image of your grandfather or grandmother which will be there in black and white format, and if you want to make it color and you want to make it look prettier, so you can scan an image using a scanner like this and then you can work on it. So this is an image which I have placed on the scanner and which I have brought in here. So if I want, then next step is whatever editing work or whatever cropping work or whatever it is, you can do it and then finish your work. So I hope you understood this concept. Adjusting an image size in Photoshop. Before we start adjusting an image size in Photoshop, we need to understand that for different type of images, the results are also going to be different when you resize the image. So before we learn how to adjust the image size, we need to understand what are the types of images available. So there are two types of images: raster or bitmap image and vector image. So the first one is raster graphic image. The most common example of raster graphic images are .jpg. Now these formats you can find it even from your digital cameras. The images which you download from get it from your digital cameras are also .jpg format. And when you all would have noticed, when you try to enlarge these images or when you try to zoom into these images, the image gets blurry and you will find a square shaped or dots in when you zoom into those images. So these square shapes or dots which are there in that image are called as pixels, and this kind of images is called as a raster graphic image. And the few examples of raster graphic images are .jpg images with .jpg extension, .png extension, GIF format, TIFF format, etc. This is an example of raster graphic image. This is an image with .jpg extension, and when you try to zoom into that image, you can see that these image gets converted into small square shapes. These are called as pixels. Now let us proceed with the next one, that is vector graphic. Vector graphic is artwork made up of points, lines and curves that are based upon mathematical equations rather than a solid colored square pixel. So the raster graphic images are nothing but solid color square pixels, but whereas vector graphics are based on some mathematical equations and made up of points, lines and curves. Now this is the reason why this image is very clear when compared to raster graphics, because when you try to zoom into this image, no matter how much you enlarge it, the image doesn't get blurry and the images are very clear when it is with vector graphics. And a few examples, that is few extensions, image extensions of vector graphics are .ai, PDF format. The PDF format we use generally, you all would have noticed that how clear, how much ever you enlarge it, when it comes to PDF file, the images are very clear. And the .eps, .svg, these are not only the PDF format which we might be using in a day-to-day life, and all the other formats are not something which we generally use. So these are the two types of image formats which we have, and we'll be working with the pixel format in our Photoshop software. So you need to understand that when you try to work with the pixels, we need to be very careful. We cannot be and we cannot enlarge an image to very high, to a very large size, so where the image, because the image gets blurry when we try to enlarge it very in pixels in raster graphic image. So this is again an example where you can clearly understand raster graphics, how it appears when you zoom in, and this side you can see vector graphic image, which is very clear even after you zoom in. So this is how it looks when you zoom in, and this is how it looks when you zoom in vector. So when you open your Photoshop, we go to my image, and then to open that image size window, we have to go to image size option, and you will find a image size window next, where you, as you can see, pixel dimensions is given over here for that. Now this is the image which I have opened in Photoshop, and this is the width of it, and this is the height of it, and again this is in centimeters it has been given, and the resolution. Now these are the three options which, now this is something which we are going to learn in next now, resampling image. So this is most important part, where you will understand when you, the options which you choose here is the most important thing, because that decides how clear the image is going to be when you enlarge the pixel size. So that is resampling. So resampling, down resample and resample up, these are the two options. So when you down resample is nothing but you decrease the number of pixels, and when you decrease the number of pixels, the pixels are deleted from the image. When you resample up, that is increasing the number of pixels, so automatically pixels are added to the image. Now when you say deleting a pixel from an image, that means few dots are deleted. When it comes to enlarging, that is increasing the pixel. So when you add new pixel, the color which it has to choose, and how it is going to apply those color, that is very important, because the coloring, if it is not proper, the image clarity will get disturbed. So resampling method, so the one which I showed you, the bottom area of that in Photoshop, as I showed you, the bottom area where it was a bicubic option, the options which I said, no, the options which you have to choose, these are the three options which will be there in that. I'll just show you practically how it works. So we'll go to image size. So this is how the image size window appears. As I said, this is an image, and the pixel size according to that it is available over here. This is the resolution. Now this is the resampling image section which I said. When you click on it, you can see three options, that is nearest neighbor, bilinear, bicubic. We have four options. Bicubic automatic is the default setting which will be always there, and I'll tell you what is nearest neighbor, what is bilinear, and what is bicubic. Nearest neighbor is the fastest way. If you choose that, when you change the pixel size, it is the most fastest way, but it is not, it is very less precise when it comes to nearest neighbor, because it replicates the pixels. When you choose nearest neighbor, replicating is nothing but duplicating the pixels. The pixels nearby it will get duplicated again and again. So now this, we cannot say that it will give you a very accurate result. This will be very less precise result it will give you. So nearest neighbor is also not that accurate. So that's why that is not being chosen. Bilinear, this method again adds pixel. What it does, it takes average coloring values surrounding the pixel. So when you choose this one, what it does, the first one, that is nearest neighbor, will replicate the pixel data, that is pixels automatically, and then it tries to enlarge the image. When it comes to bilinear, this is also again going to add pixels, but it will take the average value of the surrounding pixels, and then it will enlarge. Next is bicubic. Now these are different options, that is best for smooth gradients, and that is already mentioned in the best for enlargement, smoother enlargement, sharper image. If you want, you choose this. And bicubic automatic, if you choose automatically any of these three, it will take up all these three and it will adjust accordingly. Now what does the bicubic do? It is the slowest method and it is very precise. They say the reason why it is it takes the it takes the examination values of surrounding pixels. It takes all the values and then examines accordingly, and then using a complex calculation it adds pixels and then it does. So this is the best one when compared to nearest neighbor and bilinear options, and this is the by default option which will be always selected in the image resizing option. So now for example, I'll just show you if I'm trying to reduce the it is already 2304 now, so I'll just reduce it to 1000, and as you can see, when I reducing that, automatically all these values also gets reduced. I'll just show you once again. I hope you are able to see it. When you're reducing 1000, when I'm just reducing the number of pixels, so when I reduced that, automatically the height also got changed and the width here in the centimeters also it got changed. And when I'm clicking OK, as you can see, the image size got reduced. Clear? I hope you are able to understand how this thing works. Let us move to the slide once again. So this is what I explained now: nearest neighbor, bilinear and bicubic. Next is this also I have shown you how to resize the image. That is, you have to go to the image menu and then choose image size, and then the image size window appears, and then you have to choose the increase or reduce the pixel size accordingly, and then you can do it. The next topic is selection tools. So let us just review the tools which comes under selection tools. The first tool is Marquee tools. So the Marquee tool is used to select the area of an image in the Photoshop window. So these are the four tools, and all the tools which comes under selection tools are used for only selecting particular areas. The difference between these tools will be the different methods with which they select. So the four types of selection which are coming under Marquee tool are the rectangular Marquee tool and rectangular Marquee tool, elliptical, single row and single column Marquee tool. This is how it appears when you open your Photoshop software, and this is where you find your Marquee tool, and these are the four options which are available. Say this is the first one, that is normal. Second one is add a selection. Third one is subtract a selection and intersect a selection. Now these four, say if you are using a rectangular Marquee tool, I'll just show you practically how it works. So this is the image which I have already kept open. So this is the place where you find your Marquee tool and rectangular Marquee tool. I'm just choosing the rectangular Marquee tool. By default, this is the option which will be selected now as I was working on it. So the changes of the options got changed. So by default, it will be always the first one, normal option, which will be selected. And I'm just using this one to select a particular section. And assume that the second one, as I said, add a selection. So if you want to add a selection, see when you place your mouse, you can see what is the option also. So when you place here, you can see subtract from selection, and next is intersect from selection, and this is the new selection. So when you select when you want to select, by default it will be new selection always. And say if you want to add another selection, if you choose rectangular and you try to select another area, the first one will automatically get removed. That is, that selection will become deselected. That won't be considered. So when you keep your option as new selection, the only one selection can be done. So if you want to add another selection, you have to click on add selection and then choose another. So automatically your first one and the next one gets added. So if you want to add a few more, you can add accordingly. So next is subtracting a selection. Say if I don't want the selection, if I want to remove this, I just select it, that gets removed. So see to that when you are selecting, you choose the correct option. So if I want to go with elliptical Marquee tool, so I'll just add selection is selected now. So if I want to add an elliptical selection for this, I can add that. So if you want to see the results, just go to refine edge. You will find this selection. If you want it with a white background, you can choose that also. Okay. So both the selections are there. And the other one here is that intersect option. So if you want the intersection to be selected, that is the intersection area to be selected, that is also possible. I hope you understood this one. And yeah, the remaining two, single row marquee tool and single column marquee tool, these two are single row. As I said, if you choose this will select a 1 pixel area selection. This is a single pixel area selection is done. This you will understand, even the single column works in the same way. It chooses only one single pixel will be selected. Say if you want 1 pixel area to be selected, that will be useful. Now we won't understand the usage of this now, only when we try to work with in-depth images you will understand how it works. So I hope this section is clear now. The next tool is lasso tool. Lasso selection tool is also used to select an area of an image. There are three types of lasso tools. First is lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, and magnetic lasso tool. I'll just show you practically how these things work. So lasso tool is the next tool which is available over here. Lasso tool, as they say, it is a freehand tool. If you want to do some selection, it's just like you draw something with your pen on the image and do the selection. This is how you select with the lasso tool. And when it comes to polygonal lasso tool, it is again you have to click and then you join it. So this is how you select with the polygonal lasso tool. And when it comes to magnetic lasso tool, this takes up the edges of the selection. Say if you want to select something from here, I'm just dragging my mouse and it is automatically selecting the edges of these areas. So I'm just moving, I'm not even clicking with my mouse, I'm just moving my mouse near the areas where I want to select. So it's just automatically selecting the, if I want to finish it, I'll just come and click on this. So automatically my selection is over. So wherever I move my mouse with, the edges of that particular nearest edges is automatically selected. So this is how lasso tool works. So three types of lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, and magnetic lasso tool. Magnetic lasso tool is easily, you just have to, easier when you use quickly, it just selects the edges of that particular image whichever you have. So I hope you understood lasso tool. Let's just move with the next one. The next tool is quick selection toolbar and magic wand tool. So the fourth option, which is quick selection toolbar, I just show you how it works. So when it is quick selection toolbar, I've just chosen the quick selection and then I'm just dragging my mouse. As you can see, quickly it selects the nearest edges in the image. I'm just moving my mouse quickly, it is selecting all the nearest edges. And if you want, this is adding plus, as you can see a plus symbol in this. If you want to remove, you see the ear of the cat got cut when it is when I was selecting. So if I want to remove those selection and deselect it, I just have to use this negative minus symbol over here so that it deselects that particular area. Again, if I want to proceed with the selection, I just have to use the plus symbol. As you can see, the selection is done properly over here. So again, the cat body got extra deselected, so I just have to bring it down to the proper position. Now it is selected. Now if you want to see the result, you can click and see. Oh, I've done something. Okay, so here the selection is, I'll just give you a small tip. When you're selecting something with quick selection toolbar, now I have selected the background, but I need the dog and cat image, so I have to use Ctrl+Shift+I. So that is a shortcut. If you just use it, now you can see the dog and cat alone is selected, not the background is selected. Now when you go to refine it, you can see the dog and cat image exactly. So if you want to remove the background, this is one of the methods which you can use. So that is quick selection toolbar. And now if you want to use magic wand toolbar works with the coloring of that particular area. So wherever you click, say if I'm clicking over here, the colored area, say if I click over here, the point where I'm clicking, the color in that particular point, wherever till where it is spreaded, that gets selected quickly. So that is the use of a magic wand toolbar. So if when I'm clicking over here, the same color is spreaded till here, so automatically it selects the option, selects that particular area. So I hope you understood how the selection works with these. These are the three types of tools which are there in which comes under selection tools, that is marquee tool, lasso tool, and your quick selection toolbar and magic wand toolbar. I hope you understood this particular practical explanation. We'll just move to the PowerPoint presentation once again. So lasso tool, I have explained you methods, everything is there. And one thing is the shortcut key which we use for selecting a lasso tool is L in your keyboard, and if you want to shift between the lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, the magic lasso tool, you can use shift plus I. So automatically you can shift between these three. You need not click on the mouse also when you want to select the tool when your Photoshop software is open. Next is magic and a quick selection. I have explained practically everything. I just want to tell you what is the shortcut key for magic wand toolbar. That is W is the shortcut key for selecting magic wand or quick selection toolbar. And if you have selected particular area and if you want to remove this deselect particular thing, you can go for Control plus D. So subtract the selection, the same options as I said. Every selection tool has those 4 options there on top, which I already showed you. The new selection, the add selection, subtract selection, and intersect selection. These are the 4 options which are available. So I hope you understood all the concepts of this chapter. If you have any doubts, please comment in the blog or below the YouTube. I'll get back to you soon. Thank you.